I'm Khamsin Oracle, and today I'm going to be talking about mothers, men, and the engineered collapse. Okay, so right now, a lot of women are noticing how much they actually carry and manage, and we cannot fall apart because we are the co-regulators for our children, and oftentimes for our entire family. We sense what they need before they speak. We are tethered to their nervous system. But we were never meant to carry all of this alone. This is why the old ancient proverb takes a village to raise a child. But the village was destroyed, and the men are still unhealed. And so, in this moment in time, this happens to be 2026, we're noticing this, and it's so obvious. Okay. And I wanted to talk about the purpose of this level of social engineering because it was intentionally destroyed through policies, media, the systems. Men were programmed to be titled as the head without knowing how to hold safe space. So they often lose their head. Guilt, shame, these wounds were never healed. So now women have become the primary nervous system anchors for everybody, while our own bodies are starting to turn on themselves and break down. Now, with this engineered collapse, you can look at this from one aspect would be to just look at the surface, but the deeper thing that we're missing is that before patriarchy, women were healers, high priestesses, military strategists. We were the bridges to the spirit realm. We were the flame keepers. We were the sibyls, and they feared our power. So they traumatize us. They traumatize the role of mother. And she can't fully protect the energy field because she's either chronically ill, burnt out, or tired. She feels subdued and depleted. And a lot of women, it's difficult just getting up another day to do these things all over again. So the morphogenic field around us and our children's pain body, these two are directly connected to each other. There's an energetic cord between women and children that men will never have. Okay. And Rupert Sheldrake talks about the morphogenic field. And when we are wounded, that field distorts. And so the children become sponges. They are sponges and they absorb the sadness and the anger and the grief. So what we're seeing in children today is unprocessed pain passed down from womb to womb through many generations. And this is why spiritual hygiene is a form of revolution at this point. And I know that there are a lot of things happening in the world that we cannot control. However, the things that we do have control of is how we heal. Not doing it to post it on TikTok or Instagram, like what you do in your day-to-day life to take care of your energy, to regulate your nervous system, to break the trauma loop is not selfish. It is the most loving act of protection that you can afford to give yourself and thus to children as well. Okay, because a lot of us know that our grandmothers went through things and they didn't talk about it. It wasn't a lack of power. It was a lack of ability to walk in that power. The world did not make room for them to do that. Okay, but it's changing. And so one of the things that is helpful is to be gentle with yourself and be honest. Do you try to save people? You try to fix things all the time, Our ancestors are like one of our first lines of defense. So just talking to them, if there's someone who passed and they meant a lot to you, just having a conversation with them, though a lot of times they were repressed and subdued, they do have a lot of wisdom to offer. So just allowing yourself to be in that space is going to help with this. Now, with the morphogenetic field, which is basically the field of electromagnetism that's created around you, there are specific programs that have been put in place and that are being rolled out as I speak that are going to make it a little bit more challenging to control this biofield around us. And there are things that I cannot say here. So I'm going to be putting that decoding on my Patreon, and I'm rolling it out in part one, part two, part three format, because it's a lot of information. And even I have been challenged to continue getting these downloads and to not be overwhelmed. But I wanted to talk about that because as we move forward, you're going to see a lot of news headlines, things on your feed, articles about things happening to women and children. And you yourself may have your own experiences where you are noticing these things. This is how spiritual warfare shows up. And, it can be really disheartening as an empath. We care. Learning how to practice the art of sacred detachment is something that was really helpful for me. And when I practiced it and devoted myself to perfecting my ability to detach in a sacred way, not having to be angry to detach, not because a lot of times that's what happens when we don't know how to have healthy boundaries. And so we don't start creating boundaries until we get pissed off, right? That's being reactive, not proactive. So sacred detachment allows you to be able to pull away from, look at it like it's an energetic blockage, right? That the 3D matrix is creating through your nervous system and whatever nervous system mode others are in that are around you. This is the way the whole planet really can be hacked. Okay, it is through our nervous system, through the thoughts that we are thinking, through the things that we do every single day. And the technology is now recording everything that is happening and sending that information back to a data center to be saved in something similar to a dossier. So there will be like social report cards and how many times that you crash out in the month of June. And moving forward, what I have seen as far as future technology is that there will also be a control mechanism over our vehicles. And in the past, let's say you had DUIs, and if you don't pass the breathalyzer test, you can't drive. Well, what if you're drunk with anger? What if you're drunk with grief? Based on some remote viewing that I've done to a future timeline, this is a possibility. And so what happens with our nervous system and the way we regulate ourselves, because I'm more focused on the spiritual element and the purpose, that's getting more expensive. So having a meltdown, having a shutdown, and these things are very common in men. And I've talked a lot about this in past videos. But there is a specific type of wounding that the masculine went through, just like there's a specific type of wounding that the feminine went through. And so now those emotional broadcast systems are more expensive than they used to be. On the old earth, you could lose your temper, crash out, shut down, meltdown, not communicate, go cold, detach. You could do these things, and the most that it will cost you is maybe just a disagreement with somebody for that moment. And then you just kind of let time do its thing and move forward. Well, that's why we have a lot of shadows coming out now, because that's the complete opposite of shadow work, which has the purpose of integration. So the technology now is going to make sure that it's more expensive. And I look at this as a catalyst for my own work to be emotion regulated. And that word, it's not even enough words for me to use to get you to see how important it is for you to take back your power by becoming the manager of your own nervous system. And for those of us who are women, who are highly empathic, who have children, grandchildren, even our caregivers, people that we take care of, proper balance is so essential. The brain will not be able to bypass what's happening with the body. So I'm going to give you a couple of things that you can do to go deeper. If you want to focus on the body, ceremonies, rituals that can be used, somatic exercising, connecting certain archetypal goddesses to your own life, which helps you to see a future timeline of where you could be heading. If that interests you, shadow work, parts work, then the coven #1, and that link is in the description. It starts at just $2.99. I added a lower tier because I know what's happening in the world and I know that where we're heading, and I don't want money to be a reason that somebody can't get access to something that they're ready to do. The second thing, my ebooks. Dark Goddess Guide to End Energetic Fuckery, Sis Unfuck Your Savior Complex. It is to deprogram the patriarchy. Even sitting on this side, sharing all this information, I'm still in the midst of doing this deprogramming and reprogramming on myself. This is something that I'll be doing for the rest of this life. It's not self-help. It's not fixing myself. These were all the things that I went through in the beginning of my spiritual awakening. These are specific protocols, algorithms, journal prompts, and ways to handle conversation with people as you are giving less energy and giving less of yourself. Because people grow to expect you to do what you have always done. And in the journey of spiritual awakening, in the journey of self-realization and self-deification, we are here to become sovereign. In that journey, it's going to affect people differently as you actually go through these changes. And I couldn't find one book that gave me things that were simple and easy to use, because let's be real, a lot of us have complex PTSD. And it's hard for us to remember things. And that can make this journey more difficult, because it's not a lack of desire to do the work, but it may be a lack of cognitive function to do the work. And there's no shame in that. We have been socially engineered to live in survival mode. So of course, on a physical level, our body has tension in areas. We think that it's aging. It's not aging. It's the impact of our environment and our inner state that creates the framework for our physical body. It was never because we were here and getting older. There's so many lies that we have been taught and told. And so if you are going into conversations with people and you have tension somewhere stored in your body, let's say your jaws or your neck or your shoulders, these areas of the body are connected to very specific emotions. Shoulders is usually connected to somebody who feels burdened and who feels like they have to always be the one to fix things and pull it together and come up with an idea and calm other people down. And that heaviness will manifest in the shoulders as stiffness. Eventually may become pain, restriction in movement. If you are feeling this in your jaws, right, this will start to affect the ears as well and the neck. And if you got that inside of you, energetically, you have those containers of energy that's not in motion, it's just stuck. And then you go into an interaction with someone. What's being contained inside your body and your subconscious mind is going to dictate your outcomes more than your conscious mind. And this is why no matter how much you choose to show up different, you may find yourself falling into those holographic realities where we reenact our traumas, our triggers become catalysts for the wounded version of us to come out. And so the reason that I wanted to have this conversation with you all is because this is what is one of the main themes of the attack. Now, the technology and how the technology impacts the nervous system, that's what is going to be on Patreon. So those are the 3 ways that you can go deeper into this work. And we also have the function area on the website. Linguistics, etymology is really important. Our syntax, right? And because words are spells. So these are some things that are available on the website. I also do personal readings, so you're definitely welcome to check out my schedule for that. And I will see you all in the next video.
Release negativity, respecting my energy, losing my identity to activate the vanity. Yeah, wrapped too tightly, I might be hoping people like me. Childhood, it was dicey. I learned to be nicey, that shit really cost me. Now I'm feeling pricey. My heart like a nugget chain, heart is fucking icy. My heart is